While brainstorming ideas for this week's video, I thought it would be neat to turn different items into a wheel and see just how many random items will work. So let's get to it. To get started, I need to come up with a basic structure to accommodate this idea. It needs to be simple, but also big enough to hold random objects that I want to turn into a wheel. With that in mind, I set off to go find some beams. The idea is pretty simple. I will attach a large wheel as the motor of the build, then attach beams all around the wheel that will hold our items. While looking at beams, I thought it would be pretty fun to test out a bunch of cartwheels first. Yeah, this is gonna be fun, carrying this huge thing everywhere looking for more beams. After a bit of travel, I found a second station. However, I was having a pretty difficult time getting the beams to line up exactly how I wanted them to, but 7 beams will have to do for now. With the design mostly there, I cut it on. And yeah, okay, this device rips through anything. It was crawling over every obstacle in its way. It even had no issues dealing with bodies of water. The only drawback is this thing is not easy to control at all. But overall, making a wheel of cartwheels was a success.
Outstanding!
Now that I was near the construction site, I had way more materials to try out. And by that, I mean I just needed to grab one more beam and adjust how everything was fitting onto the wheel. The next item I wanted to try out on our huge wheel was a pretty odd one, because I decided I wanted to use wings and see how that worked. The only issue with this plan is I only have room for 4 wings due to how large they are, but I'm sure that'd be fine. And when I went to go test it out, this thing was slow. It was easily the worst wheel experience so far. I had hoped for maybe like some sort of lift or something, but that wasn't working out. If I had to choose something that this build does have going for it, I would say this device at least looks pretty cool. That last experiment wasn't great, but I have a feeling our next item is gonna be probably better. The item in question is a box. Yeah, it sounds crazy, turning a box into an oversized wheel, but maybe, just maybe, I can make it work. While I was building this, the device fell over once and broke almost every box. So yeah, I realized this probably isn't that great of an idea. Turns out, that was correct, because immediately upon cutting it on, every single box proceeded to break. So yeah, boxes aren't the best for giant wheels. However, this lets us try out using only the beams as a wheel. And it's fine, but it kinda just seems like it's missing something and could be way better. I know a device that is bound to be great, and that is to use springs as my wheel. So I quickly attached my 8 springs to the oversized wheel and was getting everything ready for takeoff. Then I cut it on. Yeah, if you thought the wheel was hard to control before, this configuration is next level hard to control. It is a true test of patience just trying to turn this thing. But I figured maybe I'm having such difficulty because there's so much stuff around. and I probably need to go somewhere that's a little more open. I was initially gonna go up the hill towards where Link's house is, but the spring wheel wasn't having it and refused to budge. So, downhill we went. We did have some speed and it was pretty fun for a second, but then I had to avoid falling into this chasm for a few minutes. Once past that obstacle, we were eventually at the point where we were gaining some speed, and everything seemed to be going way better. That is, until the device flung me off and went its separate way. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also, leave a comment, cause I respond to those pretty often. And as always, I'll catch you next time.